Hello, this is Tim Hellman.
I'm Jake Tenpass.
And this is Movie Talk. Today we're going to review the movie Only God Forgives. Only God Forgives is a controversial and violent crime drama from writer-director Nicolas Winding Refn and starring Ryan Gosling as a former American named Julian who now lives in Bangkok smuggling drugs with his brother Billy, played by Tom Burke, under the front of a boxing club. When Billy rapes and murders a 16-year-old prostitute, he's caught by the Thai police red-handed, but then his domineering and psychotic crime lord mother, played by Kristen Scott Thomas, arrives in town and all hell breaks loose. Refn describes the film as a fairy tale and a western set in the modern-day Far East. What did you think of the movie?
I just absolutely loved it. I felt like I was having a dream and it was being projected onto the screen. Every shot was absolutely beautiful. Even the shots that were horrific were shot expertly. I mean, I don't know, the guy is just, to me, one of the most stylistically interesting directors making movies right now, and I just totally went along for the ride and was captivated. A lot of my favorite directors are those who make movies that seem to be set within sort of a dream logic, whether you're talking about Dario Argento or Stanley Kubrick. These are directors who do not feel constrained to make a movie that is set in the real world as you know it. I think that Refn is working in a tradition of filmmakers who, while not necessarily their style not necessarily popular in this day and age, is some really rich, fertile source material.
I just saw Valhalla Rising for the first time and I thought that was amazing. Now I have a hard time picking which one is my favorite, but I think it's still the Tom Hardy one, Bronson.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think if you look at Refn's canon, I mean, if you look at his filmography, I mean, you're talking about Bronson, Drive, Valhalla Rising, the Pusher trilogy. All those movies exist in their own worlds, and they're all very different. I mean, that's one of the things that draws me to him as a filmmaker, is that much like Paul Thomas Anderson or, other filmmakers I absolutely love, it's like you go see the movie and you really don't know what you're going to get going in, but you know that whatever it is, it's going to be a quality experience. The movie has had so much criticism. I mean, there were reports at the Cannes Film Festival of people booing and like walking out of the screening, and people decrying its violence. And I mean, I just don't get it, because I don't even think it's really that violent. Yes, there is some very dark.
Not the most violent movie ever made, for sure.
No, and all the violence is portrayed very realistically. I mean, if anything, I would argue that Refn is a filmmaker who understands that violence is horrific, and so when he shows violence on screen, he doesn't try and pretty it up and make it like a sugar pill to be swallowed. He makes it something that you have to sit through. But if you think about dreams, that's how it is too. When something horrific is going on in your dreams, it's not like you can go, oh, I don't want to look at that, because in your dream you look at things you don't want to look at, you see things you don't want to see. It's about a man who is compelled to act for one reason or another, but then finds himself unable to. And so to me, criticisms of its violence miss the point that it's a movie about a character who is unable to commit the same horrible acts of violence in reaction to violence committed against somebody he loved. I found Ryan Gosling's character to be very sympathetic, despite the fact that he says almost nothing in the entire movie. And for people who say, oh, his mom was like a cartoon, like she was too over-exaggerated, again, if you think about dream logic, it's like characters often are very vivid.
You gave it 5 stars, right?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely give it 5 stars. I think it was a absolutely pure portrayal on the screen of the vision of the filmmaker. And I wasn't bored. People are saying, oh, it was self-indulgent. I mean, it was a short movie. It was like 90 minutes long. It wasn't too long. It wasn't like he sat there and, belabored points. And there were scenes in there that were just agonizing in the sense that, I was sharing with you, I've had dreams where I got into a fight in the dream and all of a sudden forgot how to punch. And it was like trying to fight and couldn't fight, and it didn't necessarily make any sense, but it's like that's exactly the kind of stuff you see happening in Only God Forgives. And the music is gorgeous.
I give it 5 now, too. I originally gave it 4.5, but I watched it again and changed my mind over time. But yeah.
So if you've heard a lot about Only God Forgives, and you've heard it was a bad movie or it was too violent or whatever, do not listen to any of those people. Watch it for yourself. Unless you're very sensitive to violence, maybe don't. But otherwise, watch it for yourself and decide for yourself what you think.
Then you're probably not going to like it. But
right.
Well, film, yeah.
Yeah.